All right. Welcome back, everyone, for first playoff edition of this season's podcast. We're joined by a loyal listener and second time or third time caller, maybe. Josh, welcome back to the pod.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Second time caller, but long time requester. Actually, long time caller, second time answered. So
That's true. You normally get sent straight to voicemail.
I know.
And of course the commish and the defending champ back as always.
What's up?
Should we dive into this week's half-baked playoff matchups?
I think so.
So I'm fully baked.
Right. Well, at the top here, we've got a matchup of two folks on the podcast at the moment. This one, as I was Christmas tree shopping, I was told was very lopsided. And I was seeing a bunch of messages from Troy and Josh about how I was getting crushed. And we had a little bit of a resurgence despite an injury to Captain Kirk towards the end of the week. But, we got a 36% chance. I think I picked myself to win. I'm not feeling so good about that prediction. Still better than my prediction preseason that Josh was going to win the toilet bowl. So at least I'm looking better on my prediction here than I am there. But yeah, I mean, we've got a shot. We got a couple guys go off this week, and we really just need Tyreek to not have a game, which seems unlikely. So at this point, I feel like we're massive underdogs, but it is what it is.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I really thought, yeah, when you're Christmas tree shopping, I thought it was in the bag, but I mean, Derrick Henry is in concussion protocol, and that's tough because and James Conner is on bye week. So if for some reason Derrick Henry doesn't play, I have to start Ty Chandler, which, or sorry, Ty Joshler. I said apologize.
Step right into that one.
Damn, first try, and I messed up my own teams. So that'll be tough if that's the case. Other than that, yeah, I mean, if Josh Reek, sorry, doesn't go off, I don't know. You could definitely do it. It's just a question of how Justin Fields does against Jared Goff in their face to face.
Yeah.
My quarterback struggle continues.
Get in line.
Yeah, that seems to be a theme for everybody. I didn't play the right quarterback this week, but I didn't have enough anywhere. But considering this gap is only 19, that's not bad when you look at the other gaps, which happen to be only 19, 20, and then you got a 60-point gap, but we'll get to that one. But yeah, I think, Nick, you did well considering we all picked you as clearly the underdog. Not a lot. I mean, on paper, this matchup heavily favors the deep benchers over there. But good showing, 133. You can't really ask for much more, given that you're starting two Cleveland running backs. You got banged up a bit this week. Christian Kirk, there was speculation that he had a testicular contortion, but I guess it's just a sports hernia or an abdomen injury. Either way, big loss for you after a good season for him. Yeah, it's really hard to see, Nick, you pulling this off, especially being down 19. Josh, I think, as long as you can field your full lineup, barring injuries and buys, I think you got this one. But this is what the playoffs are about. It would not surprise me at all if Nick, you pull this off. It would be, unlikely, but this is the fantasy playoffs. Anything can happen, as we've seen with some of these other matchups as well.
Yeah, Derrick Henry coming into form as he usually does in weeks 14 through 18. And, obviously Josh Connor on the bench had a big game. Unfortunately, he's going to be on bye next week. Jacoby Myers comes back. Romeo Doubs kind of doing his thing. Kind of still monitoring how that trade between us has gone. The good thing is that Nick has Zay Jones to fill Christian Kirk's role when he's coming back. Michael Pittman quietly having a really good, midway point in the season, number 12 overall receiver, hasn't had a single digit game since week 5, only 3 overall this season. So I think you're going to need him to pop off a little bit, and going to need some more help from your tight end spot. You got 0 points from Joshua Johnson in his game this week.
Yeah,
I think it's possible.
There were like 3 tight ends that were trending, and I thought I wanted to pop someone in for K-Dot. And I know Brevin Jordan was another one of the ones that I was like considering, and I forget who the third one was, but Johnson put up a goose egg, and the other 2 I think put up like 8 or 9 each. So that was a poor management decision by myself, but it is what it is. He spent 1 weekend on our team and he's gone. We've got Okonkwo now there as a backup tight end. So
someone you drafted, right?
Okonkwo? Yeah, I think so. He's been around. He's been on and off the roster as my feelings have ebbed and flowed. So we'll see.
I think it's going to come down to if Derrick Henry's healthy, and then if that Detroit-Chicago game is a high-scoring game. Well, it really depends on how the Lions D shows up. If they can contain Josh and Fields, then you might have a chance.
It could be snow. It could be snow on Sunday in Chicago, by the way. So we'll see. That'll be an interesting one.
It would be interesting too if Josh Henry can't play, and you have Madison and I have Ty Joshler, and just like who gets the carries.
Yeah, Madison's been a huge disappointment for me over the course of the season. I had high hopes for him as RB1 in Minnesota, and he's just not been very good, but it is what it is.
I think there is
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick, there is an opportunity here for you, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm not sure if it's whether you can grab it or if Josh is not going to be able to step up. But go ahead, Cam.
I was going to say we have 2 pretty high-profile receivers here going head-to-head. I know, not head-to-head, but those could be the X factors here. Who do you shine or shade? Jamar Chase has a better week this week versus Indy indoors versus compared to that of Tyreek Hill versus Tennessee on Monday night.
I will shade that. I think this Dolphins team is just outrageous. Tyreek is outrageous. I feel like Tyreek is one of those players who plays better like on prime time and in the spotlight. I fully expect to be just demolished by Tyreek this week. I'd be shocked if Jamar might have a good game, but I'd be surprised if Tyreek does not put up 20.
He played well in the first game with Jake Browning back in the a QB. So, but you're right. Tyreek's he might break the record this year for most receiving yards in the season.
Yeah. I honestly would say there's more of a battle between Michael Pittman and Keenan Jocelyn because sorry, I'm struggling. The Chargers are just just horrible. And there's only so much, I don't know. But Michael Pittman, has an interesting chance. So I don't know.
Yeah, Nick, your 2 receivers are going off against each other, Chase and Pittman. You better hope that those 2 show up. And then
same with Josh. He's got Keenan Allen and Cortland Sutton playing one another.
That's right.
Wow. Well, Josh Reed, the Dolphins have been handling business. So when they're playing shitty teams, they're putting up 35, 45, even 70 points this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably a lock for Josh Reed to go for at least 20 with a touchdown, maybe even 25 up in there, at least 100 yards. If I were to bet on it, I'd put over 100 yards and maybe even a touchdown. And then Keenan Jocelyn and Jocelyn Sutton, they're the main receivers in those offenses. So yeah, it's going to be tough. We know this is nothing new to us. Josh's team is the deepest team. So Nick, I think it is going to be whether your best players are going to be able to be the best players for their respective teams come Sunday, Sunday and Monday.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to a squad that clearly was not the best players on their respective teams this past week. Colin, your performance against the underdog Troy.
Yeah, I think it might be a number 1 seed curse because obviously Josh was the number 1 seed last year and then lost in the first round. And I think that's likely what's going to happen this year. I mean, I don't want to put myself out of this yet, but down 60, I would need the exact reverse to happen. I would need Troy to score 90 or less and me to score 150 or more. And that's just like such a far-fetched scenario given what just happened this week. I was speechless. I mean, once Tank Dell went down, I had a pit in my stomach the rest of the weekend, and that was probably at 1:45 on Sunday. So that one hurt, and it hurt until it still hurts right now talking about it. I mean, Thielen, he's been a complete bust since basically the trade, maybe a couple weeks after the trade. I'm glad Evan Ingram got his first touchdown of the season, but that's not enough. It's not looking good. Props to Troy though. I mean, 150, a good week to show up. All his best players were there. Nobody had a bad week other than the Chiefs defense, fine, whatever. And his quarterback did enough. I mean, just under 10, that'll get you over the line. My defenses haven't gone negative all season, and both my defenses went -4. Like all around poor effort from my team. And I lost one of my better players. He's a rookie. It's going to be tough to turn this thing around. It's possible. I mean, I am 19-5 for a reason. I was able to show up every week. But early on in the season when I had one game that was 90 points, I said I wasn't going to score 90, less than 100 the rest of the year, and it happened to be the first week of the playoffs. This is also the time of the season where other guys are showing up, like not the main 1 or 2s. But other guys are showing up. I mean, I just picked up Alec Pierce. He had the best game of the season this week. So just an off week for me. And I have to score 150 or more for me to give myself a chance. But I mean, the 60-point gap, that is almost insurmountable.
Yeah, tough week for Justin Herbert to have a bad game. I mean, you had people pop off at other positions. Devonta Smith dropped 20. Evan Ingram dropped almost 20. Elijah Moore, kind of outperformed. You're not getting on the edges with your defense and your quarterback. But you have DJ Moore coming back this week, James Cook coming back. So you have some spots to fill if Tank Dell he's probably done for the season. But Troy also has Devontae Adams coming back too. So I'm rooting for you. I want to see this be a close game. I think it's possible. I think there's been a couple of weeks where you might have outscored Troy by 60. So I wouldn't hold it against you. I mean, how do the matchups look next week for your guys?
I mean, sleeper gives you a 1-4 shot, so they're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
You've got McCaffrey, obviously, who's always projected to get 20. I'm surprised Devonta Smith is only projected to get 10, but I guess that Dallas defense is pretty darn good. But yeah, DJ Moore against Detroit.
And you got your defense facing off against each other too. So you got to kind of make a choice there.
Both of those teams just lost their starting quarterback. So whoever I pick, I'm playing up against the second quarterback. But Browning, I have a lot more faith in Browning than I do in CJ Beathard. So that's why I'm going with Brown's defense against Beathard.
Yeah. Looks like you're projected to get about 130 this week, and Troy's only projected to get about 110. So anything's possible, but it's definitely a tough way to start the offs.
How did who did Troy trade for again? He got Mostert and Adams for Mixon
and Mixon, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Mixon obviously went off too. So like, didn't he?
Two touchdowns. Yeah.
And like Mostert and Adams didn't even play, but Mostert didn't do great. So it's like it helped you at least that trade happened.
You might have a shot if you can convince Troy to play Josh Dobbs instead of Baker Mayfield, because Dobbs is always liable to throw 5 picks.
But Jay Jettas is coming back.
This is true.
Don't say that. I got to play against him.
That doesn't help Dobbs throw it to a guy in the correct color jersey though.
That's true.
All right, Cam, you've got the tightest matchup by percentages here. 52% chance to win here, and technically an upset over the higher seed. Jason, thoughts on your performance through 1 week?
Yeah, coming into Monday night, Monday night, it was tight. Both of you guys, Colin and Nick, thought this game was going to be much higher, more of a blowout than it actually was. Got another good game from Kyrie, and CeeDee Lamb is still balling. I had to plug some players in that I wouldn't normally play two tight ends, but I had to play Freiermuth because Gabe Davis was on bye, Kenneth Walker was hurt, Demario Douglas was hurt. So hopefully I can get some of my starters back. Devin Singletary looks like his run might be done. So I need Breece Hall to kind of make a comeback. And unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence is probably done for at least a couple of weeks. But now I don't have to make a decision at quarterback anymore, which is nice. I'm a little bit nervous about Jay Jettis coming back. And, obviously Lamar's coming back this week too. So got a nice little bit of insulation, but still need my guys to go off. And I need to make sure – I need to keep following the Demario Douglas news because he was projected to play this week earlier today, and now it looks like he's maybe doubtful. So I'll have to figure that out.
Is not that I have any faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think Najee is questionable, maybe, which obviously boosts Jalen Warren.
Yeah. I didn't realize, Cam, that last week you were sporting 3 Patriots on your bench. That's a tough strategy in fantasy football this year. Be carrying a bunch of them.
Yeah,
well, there's something sneaky about Demario Douglas. I mean, Tank Dell was the breakout rookie receiver, but Demario Douglas has one of the highest man versus man, or man coverage win rates in the NFL, not just for rookies. So he's talented. There's talent there. He's been in a poor offense, and obviously the injury doesn't help. But as a Patriots fan, I'm going to hype him up more than the average person. But he is. If this was Dynasty, that would be one of the biggest steals. And hopefully he is back this week. And they play tomorrow night. It's Steelers versus Patriots on Thursday night. I'm expecting that to be another 6-0 or 10-6 game. So I don't know if starting them this week is going to be in your favor. But, having that 20-point lead means everything, considering who Jason has. He has heavy hit. He has those big home run hitters. Kamara, Jay Jettis, we don't need to talk about them. It's whether these kind of complimentary guys can show up. Jalen Warren, he's in that starting role. I mean, he's playing against the #1 run defense in the league. Maybe not by fantasy standards, but I was reading today that the Patriots have historically one of the best run defenses of all time this season right now. So that might be a tough game for Jalen Warren, but that doesn't mean he can't score a touchdown or get a lot of receptions out of the backfield. I think this will end up being the closest gap, even with that 20-point lead. Yeah. His heavy hitters are coming back. CJ Stroud's having an insane rookie year. This one's gonna be close, and it'll be the best game finish, I think, of the week. I wonder who the Monday night game is, because I'm sure one of these matchups is going to come down to a Monday night finish, whether it's the last play or just the whole night in general. That Monday night game, whatever it is, I promise you, one of these matchups will be determined by it.
Packers Giants.
Oh, there's 2 actually. It's Miami, Tennessee, and then Packers Giants. There's 2 Monday night games this week. Okay,
so that even gives it a better chance of one of these matchups being determined on Monday night. And considering we were just talking about Josh Reek and maybe no Josh Rick Henry, could be your game, Josh and Nick.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, it says a lot that Sleeper has you're projected like just barely to win. You have a 20-point lead. Yeah. So obviously they put a lot in these players.
Yeah, I have 13 points lower projected than Jason, but I still have a 52% chance to win.
Well, I think this was the I'm in.
Original.
Yeah, you gotta go to next week, and then it gives you a bit of a
to win by 4.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
And then
yeah, just one last thing. Steelers,
yeah.
Kenny Pickett's not playing. He's out. So it's Mitch Trubisky might be tossing the ball to Jalen Warren at the backfield a lot. So I'm keeping an eye on that matchup tomorrow night.
Yeah. And then our last playoff matchup, I mean, Trevor, especially early, it was like the most dominant start to a playoff I've seen. I mean, he was just like between Metcalf and Cooks and everybody on his team.
Prescott,
like Eric,
Dak, yeah.
It seemed like, and Prescott, yeah, it seemed like Eric was absolutely buried early.
77 on Thursday night.
Have the same chance I do, a 36% chance. So I mean, credit to Eric's team, putting up a fight. Puka in that trade with Troy, giving him 22 points. Mixon 26, Laporta Potty 24.5. So I mean, Eric showed some spirit after the haymaker that Trevor came out with.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Trevor's team. He has the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and Eric's been just so consistent each week. He doesn't have those highs and lows. So, the story of the week kind of matches up with that. He came out with 77 points, finished with 155, and Eric just kept chunking away, and it's only a 19-point gap. I still expect Eric to pull this one out because I think we'll see again over the course of the 2 weeks that Trevor will have that high of 155, and then he's going to hit that low. It only could be 115, 120, but then if Eric's got 130, 135, that's enough to get over the line there. Tua on Monday night, I'm expecting him to have, 2 touchdowns, 250 yards passing. I think Eric's still going to pull away with this and win it in the end. What'd you say that other Monday night game was? Oh, Giants Packers.
Yeah.
Maybe Jaden Reed on Eric's team, if he starts him again, maybe he just goes for, 1 touchdown, the game-winning touchdown on Monday night to get it over the line there. I could easily see that happen. But good first matchup. I mean, 77 points on a Thursday night in the first week of playoffs. That was probably an insane rush. Like, holy shit, this is happening. If only I could have had that.
yeah, I mean, but to your point, it's like 77 on one night is awesome, but then to only get another 73 or whatever, between the rest of your team is, it does balance out a little bit. 150 is a great number. I mean, I did it too. I get it. I agree. But yeah, is DK gonna get 34 again next week? I don't know who they're playing, but I don't think. Oh, they're playing the Niners, right?
Yeah.
I don't see it. But I also don't know that Eric, Jaden Reed is a pretty low ceiling. Drake London is just a lost cause this year. I don't know. I don't know if I see it. I think Trevor can hold on.
Wow, I agree.
He did play and start, or picked up and started the right defense. Falcons was 17. They were the hot pickup defense of the week, and he did it. Props to him.
Doesn't he have the Niners defense as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, they did play Philly. So
right.
It was.
But we scrolled down. Didn't they do well against Philly?
They got 5.
Oh, okay, never mind. Still, I feel like Niners, I'd almost be set it and forget it.
Yeah.
He did. I think it was on the advice of this podcast last week when he was listening to this podcast that he went and picked up a different defense. So that was my contribution to his team.
And Eric played the wrong quarterback. Purdy with 29, Tua with 19.
He's got Purdy on the bench again this week because when you have Tua, you're not gonna bench him. So
I think he sticks with Tua. As a Dolphins fan, the Monday night against a poor team, I think he's gonna stick with Tua.
Yeah. And then we get to our toilet bowl matchups. First one here, we've got Alex with a surprise resurgence against Johnny, the 12 seed with a commanding lead and 75% chance to advance here. on the back of strong performances from the likes of Chuba Hubbard and Taysom Hill.
Yeah, nobody saw this coming, especially compared to the other toilet bowl game too. I don't think anybody predicted Alex would be the high scorer of the teams who didn't make the playoffs. Jalen Hurts, Austin Eckler has been an enigma this season, but Alex has found other ways to score. I mean, Taysom Hill with 14, Chargers D coming up big. His bench is still kind of shallow, but I don't know. I mean, Johnny has Saquon and Josh Jacobs coming back this week. I think we'll cut into some of that lead a little bit. Ultimately, I think Alex holds on here. I don't really know how invested Johnny is in continuing to win. I think he's more interested in draft capital at this point for some reason or another. So I think Alex holds on here.
Yeah, I will note that Johnny has not yet inserted Saquon and Josh into his lineup. So I don't know if that's a strategy or if he's just waiting until the last minute to set his lineup, but that will probably adjust the 75% chance win probability once he sets a lineup.
Yeah, likely. I would stick with Alex to win this as well. Johnny played the wrong quarterback. I mean, he took Stafford over Geno Smith. But I think you're right, Cam. I think he probably won't even set his lineup to secure that number one pick. But again, we mentioned this last time. Next year, if you're tanking, you could be out for at least a year. So hopefully that can change people's tanking strategy or activity level, because I want there to be some sort of consequence to this, because it's hard to enforce other things when it's easy to kick people, not kick. It's not that you're getting kicked out, it's that you're getting relegated. You're the worst team, so someone's coming in to replace you. And it looks like that could be Johnny based on what we've seen so far.
Yeah, Josh, watch out next year. Don't finish last.
No, I always finish.
I always finish last.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Hollywood Brown was out from the beginning, wasn't he?
Yeah. It looks like he got 3
played.
targets. He just
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this game. Move on.
Yeah. less is more when talking about the toilet bowl. Speaking of Rob, Rob is facing a deficit here against Mr. Willie Styles. Matchup of 8 and 16 regular season teams. Willie did not set his lineup and still mustered 88 points.
And it wouldn't have mattered if you look at his bench. Both their benches were piss poor. Unbelievable.
Colin, does it hurt you that he scored about as many points as you?
Yeah, I was hoping someone didn't mention that. That definitely hurts. I'm appreciative that you brought that up. Thanks, Josh. Both defenses went for a negative here. I mean, it's just all bad. It's just all bad. So yeah, not much to say here. I would say, it's gonna be Johnny and the loser of this team, obviously, and whoever doesn't set their lineup is gonna be the toilet bowl winner.
I mean, we've been talking about week 13 for Willie for weeks now, and it's kind of incredible that he ended up winning this week by almost 35 points with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs on 4 players on bye.
I like I was listening to an interview with Marshawn Lynch, and he was talking about how he learned that DBs didn't want to tackle him when he was running right at them. So, he, instead of like turning and trying to run around DBs, he would just run at DBs and make them make a business decision. And I feel like that was Willie's strategy here. Like we were talking about week 13 being like a tough week and how he was going to have to face a bunch of guys on bye. And he didn't shy away from the contact. He just said, screw it. I'm playing all those guys on bye. I'm running right at you, Rob. And Rob blinked, so I'm going to call Willie Marchand from now on in this league.
That's good.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are the matchups. We've got obviously one more week here until we have our semifinals set. Looks like a couple of potential upsets based on the seeding. None bigger than the 8 versus the 1 matchup, which is also the most lopsided in terms of percentages. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And in terms of fab, go ahead, Josh.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, I was just say if you let the 1 seed originally, me and Troy would be neck and neck.
That's true. That's true. And I might be looking
But
at
you
a
still
spot in
be
the
getting
semis.
crushed, man.
And I was interested. I thought that fab spending would be up this week and in the playoffs in general, because obviously we're running out of weeks to spend your fab on. And Kim kind of jokingly alluded to dropping a bag on the Texans D by spending $3 on them. Which, yes, for a defense is high relatively speaking, but even though there were some like quarterback injuries and stuff, I thought it was interesting that $3 for Browning and the Houston Texans D was the the high spend of the week, and only one other dollar spent, so a total of 7 fab was kind of surprising to me.
I think that's just because of what was available. I mean, some of these guys I don't know, Parker Washington for Jacksonville, he might step into a role here, but they got enough weapons over there that I'm not sure he will be some fantasy playoff winner. And you could say that about the rest of these guys. I mean, Rob's picking up Cordarrelle Patterson just for the name of it. I think that's just because there's really not much out there to be spent on. That could change going forward here, especially in those later weeks when we don't know which starters are going to play. But definitely this free agency, I looked at it and I didn't look at it for very long because I was like, I don't need to think about this for very long.
I'll say too, like, I mean, I don't know how other people feel, but having spent a lot of fab like a little too early, cough, Josh Murray, DeMarcado. It like made me gun shy, and I feel like other people kind of were too. And then you just like, I've had $25 left for the last like 4 weeks, and I'm like, well, I can't spend it all in one place, so I just keep like, so maybe that's maybe other people have done the same, but
Rob has
to your
not.
point,
Rob has not done the same.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette was another like $20 guy. Has he even sniffed the field yet?
I don't think so.
No. Yeah. One last thing I want to look at, if we just go back to the bracket real quick, if we're just looking at who we expect to win in the first round, we do reseed in round 2. So if we go on, expected points for and who we think is going to win, the 8 seed will advance, the 5 seed will advance, the 6 seed will advance, and the 2 seed will advance. So that'll put Troy and Josh in round 2, and then me and Trevor for the birthday rubber match on the other side of the bracket. So I mean that's 3 teams in the bottom half of the bracket who advance. Shine or shade. One of those 3 teams, me, Troy, or Trevor, ends up winning the ship this year.
Shade. I don't know. Trevor's team is scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I think if those are the 4 teams that advance, I think Josh is the favorite. I mean, he's been super consistent. We've talked about how deep his team is. I mean, I'm seeing it firsthand right now. I think Josh is going to be a really tough out. So I'll shine it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have an answer for that yet. I think Trevor is bound to have one of those low weeks because it happened all season. Cam, I don't want to root for you because you've got the most ships. You have the only one with multiple, and you have like 4, and no one else even has 2. So like I can't root for you. I want to see Troy win it because he's had such terrible luck, and beating the 1 seed and having a good finish to the season, that'd be great. And Josh, that'd be first time winner. Love to see that as well. I'll shade it because Josh isn't on that bottom half, and I think he is the favorite considering who would advance with current point projections and finishes. But but I'm not holding out hope for me until it's Monday night at 11 o'clock. I'm ready for it, and I'm sure all of you are as well.
Well, I don't know who's gonna get it to the championship, but like those last 2 weeks are really gonna be, yeah, with like starters playing, things like that. It's gonna be pretty crazy because like while there are a lot of teams kind of in contention for playoffs, I mean NFL playoffs and seeding and all that, like there's a lot of teams that aren't. Like, is Josh Henry gonna play? Probably not. Is Justin Fields gonna play? I have a lot of good guys on bad teams too. Like Josh Hill will probably play, but like other than that, my guys are probably all out of the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to see Troy have to run through Josh in the next round if y'all both advance. Just to because I don't want to play any of these teams, but I agree with Colin that I would rather play Trevor out of the three with Josh and Troy. So because I do think that Trevor is due for a down week. Hopefully it's not this week, and hopefully it's next week if I were to advance.
And yeah, I mean, that would be two interesting storylines in the semis, of the birthday boys against the two that seem to always lock horns, in trades and whatnot. So it'd be a lot of history there. We were talking about some of the interesting storylines in the first week of playoff matchups, and it would certainly continue in the semis then. All right.
Yeah.
Well, shall we get back to football?
Let's do it, baby.
All right. Well, good luck to all the competitors except for Josh. May the best person in every matchup except for mine, where the lesser team will hopefully win. And good luck to everybody.
Sounds good, folks.
All right.